When track is compressed, how to restore dynamics. You can't really restore the dynamics because they're already gone. But what you can do is you can give a kind of perceived difference. So you bring the track down, as I've shown you in the course. You get it peaking at like -60. Just go through the same process basically. And by the time, if you start adding some EQ in certain places, you're going to start bringing a few more dynamics back. You're never really going to be able to bring total dynamics back because once it's crushed, and once it's compressed, it's kind of done. But you can certainly get things punchy and pull things out with a bit of EQ. And I just approach it exactly the same way as I approach a track that is, really dynamic and fine. It's just you are presented with what you've got and you have to deal with it the same way really. And then I'm always trying to make things sound more dynamic and always trying to get things loud. So it's exactly the same thing for me. How do you go about gain staging to keep the track dynamic? The way that I've used my setup is that it gain stages throughout naturally gain stages throughout the way that I work, so that you're not necessarily doing one certain type of thing. You're adding as you go along, so that that's the gain. You're adding a little bit on the EQ, a little bit with the compression, a little bit with the limiters, a little bit with and a little bit on the channels, and then by the end it creates a loud enough master. And then you kind of move those as time goes on with whatever you're doing with the EQ. So the gain staging, there's not one way of doing that apart from it just happens as a natural part of the process of how my kind of way of working is, basically. How do we get -4 RMS masters? You don't get -4 RMS masters unless you're mental. It's just going to sound crushed. I don't care what anyone says. Someone said in the group yesterday that someone got a house track mastered and it was -2 or 3. Listen, you can do it. It's easy. You just got to push things through the stuff harder, and then you've just got to work the EQs in a different way. But most of the time, what you're going to have to do is be really heavy on the processing, whether that's analog or digital. You're not going to get it that loud with analog. You're going to have to be in the box to get that kind of level. It's going to depend on the mix a lot, because you're going to need a lot of space in the mix to be able to push the track that loud. Yeah, it's very mix dependent. It's going to have to be electronic instruments because the harmonics will clash too hard on anything acoustic. Yeah, it needs to be electronic, needs to have loads of space and room, or you need to create that space and room with loads of processing and loads of EQ, and you've got to crush it up. So the person who's giving you the track to master has got to be open to the fact that it's going to sound completely different when it comes back. So personally, I don't master to -4 RMS. I have. People have asked me to, and especially for trailer music, which is mega difficult because there's a lot going on and a lot of harmonics. So that's hard, but I've done it, but it just sounds crushed and sounds distorted to me. And so you've got to be aware of that distortion and be happy. The client's going to be happy with that. There is going to be distortion there. So with a lot of trailer music that I do, they don't mind a bit of distortion because it's a very short amount of time that they want it really loud, and the distortion doesn't really come through. But I would try and veer away from -4 RMS. It's crazy. And also, a lot of the times, -8 or -6 can sound better than a -4 and can sound louder than a -4 or -3. I mean, it's just how you position the EQ for the ears to pick up on it. Why are digital elements clashing in a mix way faster than analog, in your opinion? I find it's the other way round, that the analog elements clash and not the digital. So the analogs are clashing because of the harmonics in the sounds of the instruments. So there's more kind of sounds going on with the harmonics, and digital stuff just enables itself to sort of crush into each other a bit easier. What frequency range makes RMS lower? Subs. I completely agree that -8 sounds better, but all the top EDM guys do -4 and -2 RMS. Got to be competitive. You don't have to be competitive. You just got to sound good. If you're competing on level, then it's just you're competing in the wrong thing, really. You need to be competing on sound quality, not on level, because ultimately the level, people are going to level match it when they're playing live. People are going to level match it online. It's going to be brought down anyway. So the difference between -8, -6 to -4 and -2 is going to be really minimal, apart from the fact of the sound of the crushingness. So you're going to get more crushed sound going -4, but you're not going to, that's not necessarily going to sound better. If it's just a matter of somebody getting the track back and it being -2 and -4 and that's what they're going on, then you need new clients, because your clients need to realise that that's not important, and you need to educate your clients. I don't have clients that say that, and I work with a lot of people, and if I sent them back stuff that was that loud, they wouldn't be happy. And so deal with the clients, speak to the clients. You don't have to be competitive. You don't have to be competitive with anyone. Compete with yourself.